The announcement came quietly, but the reaction? Anything but. After months of speculation, silence, and growing tension among fans, TLC has finally confirmed what millions have been waiting for. Welcome to Plathville is coming back for Season 8. And this time, it's not just another season. Because behind that announcement lies something much bigger. A fractured family that may never fully heal. Relationships that have already crossed the point of no return. And a reality show that's no longer just documenting life, it's documenting fallout. Viewers have watched the Plath family evolve from a tightly controlled, deeply religious household into a complex, emotionally raw, and often divided group of individuals trying to find their place in a modern world. But now, with Season 8 officially on the horizon, one question is dominating the conversation across America. Is this the season where everything finally breaks? Because if you've been paying attention, the signs have been there. From Kim Plath stepping away from her long-held values, to Barry Plath navigating life after separation, to the ongoing emotional distance between Ethan Plath and Olivia Plath, what once looked like a united front now feels more like a family at a crossroads. And now, with cameras rolling once again, Season 8 isn't just another chapter. It may be the turning point. To understand why this premiere announcement matters so much, you have to go back to where it all started. When Welcome to Plathville first aired, it wasn't just another reality show trying to capture everyday life. It stood out immediately, not because of drama, but because of contrast. The Plath family presented a lifestyle that felt almost untouched by modern culture. A large conservative family living in rural Georgia. No mainstream media. No sugar. No outside influences. A world where strict values shaped every aspect of daily life. At the center of that world were Kim and Barry Plath, parents who believed deeply in raising their children with discipline, faith, and distance from what they saw as harmful outside influences. And at first, viewers were fascinated. But fascination quickly turned into something else. As seasons progressed, cracks began to show, not in subtle ways, but in deeply emotional, sometimes uncomfortable moments that revealed just how difficult it was for the older Plath children to reconcile their upbringing with the realities of adulthood. One of the earliest and most significant shifts came through Ethan and Olivia. Their relationship wasn't just a love story. It was a collision of two worlds. Olivia, who had experienced a more open upbringing, began challenging the restrictions placed on Ethan by his family. And as their marriage evolved, so did the tension. What started as quiet disagreements soon became emotional standoffs, not just between Ethan and his parents, but within the entire family dynamic. Meanwhile, siblings like Micah and Mariah began carving their own paths, stepping away from the strict environment they were raised in and exploring independence, identity, and personal freedom. By the time later seasons aired, the show had transformed completely. It was no longer about a different kind of family. It was about a family in transition. And transition, as it turns out, comes with consequences. So what do we actually know about Season 8? According to official confirmation from TLC, this series is set to return, marking one of the longest-running arcs in the show's history. While the network has not released every detail, early promotional material and production reports suggest that this season will dive deeper than ever into the personal lives of each family member. Sources close to the production indicate that filming took place during a period of significant change, particularly in the aftermath of Kim and Barry's separation, which fundamentally altered the family structure. And that alone would be enough to carry a season. But there's more. Reports suggest that Ethan and Olivia's relationship, already strained in previous seasons, will take center stage once again. And not in the way fans might hope. Their journey has been one of the most emotionally charged storylines in the series, and according to early insights, Season 8 address unresolved tensions that have been building for years. At the same time, Micah and Mariah are reportedly continuing to navigate life outside the family home, facing challenges that come with independence, career decisions, and identity in a world far removed from their upbringing. Meanwhile, Barry Plath's role appears to be evolving as he adjusts to a new reality, one where the traditional structure he once led is no longer intact. And then there's Kim. Perhaps no figure in the show has undergone as dramatic a transformation. From strict matriarch to someone exploring a completely different version of herself, Kim's storyline is expected to be one of the most talked about aspects of the new season. But what makes this announcement particularly significant isn't just what's been confirmed, it's what hasn't. Because for a show built on real lives, the biggest moments are often the ones that no one sees coming. From a media perspective, the return of Welcome to Plathville is more than just another season renewal. It's a reflection of something deeper happening in reality television, a shift toward authenticity over perfection. So where does this go from here? Season 8 could redefine the trajectory of the entire series. If tensions escalate, as reports suggest they might, the show could move into entirely new territory, focusing less on a unified family and more on individual journeys. There's also the possibility that this season sets the stage for future spin-offs or separate storylines centered around specific cast members. For the network, the stakes are clear. Maintaining audience engagement in a long-running reality series requires evolution, and Season 8 appears poised to deliver exactly that. For the cast, the implications are more personal. Every moment captured on camera becomes part of a public narrative, one that can influence perception, opportunity, and even relationships. And for viewers, the experience is something unique. Because unlike scripted television, there are no guarantees, no predetermined endings. Only real people, navigating real challenges in real time. At its core, this isn't just a story about a television show. It's a story about a family. A family that, like many others, is dealing with change, conflict, and the difficult process of growth. The reason audiences connect so deeply with Welcome to Plathville isn't because the Plaths are perfect. It's because they're not. Because in their struggles, viewers see reflections of their own experiences, disagreements, distance, reconciliation, and everything in between. For some, it's about understanding different perspectives. For others, it's about watching transformation unfold. And for many, it's simply about connection. The feeling that even in the most complicated situations, there's something relatable. Season 8 promises to bring those emotions to the surface once again. And if the past is any indication, it won't be easy. As the countdown to the Season 8 premiere begins, one thing is clear. This isn't just another season. It's a moment. A moment that could change everything for the Plath family and for the millions of viewers who have followed their journey from the very beginning. So now we want to hear from you. Do you think this season will bring the family back together or push them further apart? What are you expecting to see? And what questions do you still have? Join the conversation. Share your thoughts. And if you want deep, fact-based, emotionally driven coverage of the stories everyone is talking about, make sure you stay connected. Because when the story evolves, we'll be right here to break it down. And trust me, this one is far from over. If you've followed Welcome to Plathville from the beginning, you already know this show doesn't move in straight lines. It never has. What starts as a simple update often reveals something deeper, something layered, emotional, and sometimes uncomfortable. And that's exactly why the Season 8 premiere announcement from TLC is generating so much attention behind the scenes. Because this isn't just about what's been confirmed. It's about what's been building. Over the past several seasons, the Plath family hasn't just changed. It's fragmented, reassembled, and in many ways, redefined itself. And when a reality series reaches that stage, producers are no longer just documenting life. They're capturing turning points. According to industry insiders familiar with long-running, unscripted productions, there comes a moment where a show either stabilizes or transforms completely. And in the case of the Plaths, Season 8 appears to be leaning toward transformation. Not subtle transformation. Fundamental transformation. Because the version of the Plath family that audiences were first introduced to, the tightly controlled, unified household, no longer exists in the same way. And that raises a critical question. What exactly is Welcome to Plathville now? To understand where the show is heading, you have to look closely at what's happened to the structure of the family itself. For years, Kim Plath and Barry Plath represented a unified authority, not just as parents, but as decision-makers who shaped every aspect of their children's environment. That structure created stability, but it also created pressure. And as the older children began stepping outside of that system, the balance started to shift. What viewers have witnessed over time is something that family experts often describe as a redistribution of influence. Authority that once belonged entirely to the parents began to disperse, moving toward individual voices within the family. Ethan, Olivia, Micah, Mariah. Each of them, in different ways, challenged the boundaries that had once been firmly in place. And when those boundaries began to break, so did the illusion of uniformity. Now, with Kim and Barry no longer operating as a united front, the power dynamic within the family has changed completely. Season 8 is expected to reflect that shift, not just through dialogue, but through behavior, decisions, and the way family members interact on screen. Because when a system changes, everything connected to it changes too. No storyline has carried more emotional weight in Welcome to Plathville than the relationship between Ethan Plath and Olivia Plath. From the beginning, their marriage represented something larger than just two people coming together. It represented contrast, different upbringings, different expectations, different visions of what life should look like. And over time, those differences didn't fade, they intensified. Viewers have watched moments of connection, followed by moments of distance. Attempts at compromise, followed by emotional setbacks. And through it all, one consistent theme has emerged. Communication has been difficult. While much of the attention has focused on Kim's evolution, Barry Plath is also facing a transition, one that is quieter, but no less significant. For years, Barry operated within a clearly defined role. Now, that role is changing. Separation doesn't just alter relationships, it alters identity. Daily routines shift. Responsibilities evolve. And the sense of stability that once existed must be reestablished in a completely different form. Season 8 is expected to explore how Barry is adjusting to this new reality. Not through dramatic declarations, but through subtle, human moments, the kind that often reveal more than words ever could. Because sometimes, the most powerful changes are the ones that happen quietly. As the older Plath children continue to build lives outside the family home, their journeys are becoming increasingly central to the narrative. Micah and Mariah, in particular, represent a generation navigating freedom after restriction. And freedom, while empowering, comes with its own set of challenges. Career decisions, relationships, identity. These are universal experiences, but in the context of the Plath family, they carry additional weight. Because stepping into independence isn't just about moving forward. It's about redefining what you carry with you from the past. Season 8 is expected to highlight these journeys in greater detail, offering viewers a closer look at how each individual is shaping their own path. And in doing so, the show continues to expand beyond its original premise. It's no longer just about a family living a certain way. It's about individuals learning how to live their own way. Not absent, but difficult. Reports surrounding Season 8 suggest that this dynamic will once again take center stage. And while no official outcomes have been confirmed, sources indicate that the new season may explore whether reconciliation is still possible, or whether the relationship has reached a point where moving forward separately becomes part of the conversation. That's not speculation for the sake of drama. There's another layer to this story, one that doesn't always make it into the final cut. Reality television, by its nature, involves selection. Moments are captured, but not all moments are shown. Stories are told, but not every detail is included. That doesn't mean the show is inauthentic. But it does mean that what viewers see is part of a larger picture. Producers make decisions about pacing, focus, and narrative structure, all with the goal of creating a compelling viewing experience. And as Welcome to Plathville enters its 8th season, those decisions become even more critical. Because the more complex the story becomes, the more carefully it must be told. Season 8 is expected to reflect that complexity, balancing emotional depth with narrative clarity. And for viewers, that means paying attention not just to what is said, but to what is implied. At a time when reality television is more saturated than ever, few shows manage to maintain relevance across multiple seasons. So why does Welcome to Plathville continue to resonate? The answer lies in its authenticity. Not perfection, not spectacle, but authenticity. The Plath family story is not neatly packaged. It's messy. It's evolving. It's real. And in a media landscape often driven by extremes, that kind of honesty stands out. Season 8 represents more than a continuation. It represents a test. Can the show continue to evolve while staying true to what made it compelling in the first place? Can it capture change without losing connection? And perhaps most importantly, can the family at the center of it all find a way to move forward, together, apart, or somewhere in between? Because here's the reality. The announcement of a premiere date is just the beginning. The real story unfolds when the cameras start rolling and when the moments we haven't seen yet begin to surface. And if early indications are anything to go by, season May 8th not just answer questions. It may raise entirely new ones. Questions about loyalty, about identity, about what it really means to be a family when everything you once believed is being redefined. And in the next part, we're going even deeper, into the tensions that haven't been fully addressed. The moments that fans believe changed everything, and the one storyline that could ultimately determine the future of